What's up, Bama Nation? Yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine here. Final day of shows here in terms of the bye week as we're getting set for Alabama and Georgia on next week. Continue to hit the like button, hit that subscribe button. I kind of want to get into this conversation right here. And Alabama, an underdog against Georgia, very dangerous to the college football world. And I kind of want your thoughts on this. Bama is a 2.5-point dog at home in Tuscaloosa on Saban Field, Bryant-Denny Stadium, to Georgia. And we have seen in years past when Alabama's an underdog, home or on the road, it adds even more incentive for Alabama to go out there and dominate the opponent, dominate the opposition. So according to all things Vegas, when you look at BetMGM, FanDuel, Caesar Sportsbook, DraftKings, doesn't really matter what your favorite betting site is, Georgia's a 2.5-point favorite over Alabama going into next week in the SEC showdown matchup between Crimson Tide and Bulldogs. And this game has a lot when you talk about SEC implication, who takes the biggest step forward in the Southeastern Conference after this game. You look at college football playoff implications where that comes in as well. So Alabama, 2.5-point dog at home against Georgia for next week, according to several of these Vegas sports books going into next week. Now, does the line go up? Does the line decrease? That remains to be seen. But definitely kind of want to get your thoughts on this because I go back to 2008. Bama was an underdog in 2008 against Georgia. And that was a Georgia team that had like Matt Stafford and Noshawn Marino, A.J. Green, those types of playmakers. And Alabama in 2008 with Mark Ingram, Julio Jones, John Parker Wilson, Scott Cochran at that time, the coach of Alabama, saying they were in black like they going to a funeral. They were in black like they going to a funeral. And you beat Georgia 41-30, right? And then you go back to 2015, Alabama was an underdog in that matchup in rained out Sanford Stadium between the hedges, and you beat the Dogs 38-10. Derrick Henry, a good game. Calvin Ridley as a freshman, where he had 5 catches, 120 yards, 1 touchdown. That was 2015. And then you go to 2018, national championship game off a 2017 season. A lot of people had Georgia winning that game. What happens? Tagovailoa comes off the bench, second half, freshman, rescues the team, 2nd and 26 at the end. You get 26-23 in overtime, the final score. Everybody celebrating that right there. Even the 2018 SEC championship game, Jalen Hurts gets in there, has his poetic justice moment. And then 2021, you had a lot of people in Vegas saying Georgia's going to win that game because of the defensive front. Alabama able to handle Georgia's defensive front. Bryce Young goes for 4 touchdowns, ends up winning the Heisman Trophy that year. So here's my thing. When Bama has been an underdog to Georgia, according to Vegas, right? According to Vegas, Bama's come out on top here. Is this another situation? And I get it. Vegas does not determine the national champion. They don't. Vegas does not determine who's going to win, right? They're trying to hedge their bets. They're trying to make money. They're trying to get the coins coming in. That's their job. But a lot of people pay a lot of attention to this stuff. When Vegas sits there and they put out a point spread, it's like, well, I got to bet on this team because Vegas has got them, as a favorite. I got to put the money on this team, right? So When you look at Alabama here, Bama's a 2.5-point dog to Georgia. To me, this is dangerous for the rest of college football because you got to believe Saban's going to be at this game. He's going to be at this game. You got former President Trump, Donald Trump, who's a presidential candidate right now, going to be at this game. Coach Nick Saban's going to be at this game. Miss Terry's going to be at this game. This is being played here on Saban Field. You have Kirby Smart entering a matchup where he's got to win. He's definitely got to win with all of the pressure being on him because I mentioned on Wednesday's show for the Georgia fans, they're looking at Kirby and going, look, man, that's not Nick Saban coaching on the sideline. That's Kalen DeBoer. You should be able to get this game. And if Kirby does not get this game, definitely the amount of pressure is going to mount because it's not going to be you have a Nick Saban problem. It's you're going to have an Alabama problem. Alabama would have had a major thorn in your side. You being Kirby Smart, you can't win this football game next week. So Bama, 2.5-point dog to Georgia. 2.5. I mean, we've seen this. We saw it 2008. We saw it 2015. We saw it 2021. We've seen it quite a few times where Bama has been the underdog and they've been able to come out and get the win and play up that narrative, right? We've seen this quite a bit with Saban. Saban's been able to play up that narrative. Nobody believes in you. Everybody's calling you out. Everybody says you ain't good. They got you an underdog at home. What you going to do about it? What you going to do? Saban was able to play up that narrative extremely well during his coaching tenure in Tuscaloosa. How does DeBoer play it up? If he does. How does DeBoer play up the narrative of the magnitude of this game and Vegas having Alabama as a 2.5-point dog here? But going to get to your comments right here to start things off here. I wanted to kind of get everything going with that conversation. But let's get to some of your thoughts here. We got my guy Roll Tide and Rise up in here with the Roll Tide family. Appreciate you, Roll Tide and Rise up. We got Mario Gordon shouting out Roll Tide and Rise up right there. Shouts out to Mario Gordon becoming a new YouTube member to TDA. Appreciate you, Mario Gordon, being that new YouTube member. We got Bama Gump, hashtag Roll Tide with a Roll Tide. Appreciate that, Bama Gump. Little 1205 with the Roll Tide. Appreciate that coming from Keith Williams. Beer cans and baddies, Georgia fan. He's in here with the laughing emoji right there. We got Bama Gump, Roll Tide. Bama owns Georgia. Now, since 2007, Georgia has only beaten Bama 2 out of 10 times. They're 2-8 since 2007 against Alabama, 2-8. And all of that with Nick Saban, 2-8 for Georgia as a whole. Kirby Smart only won 1 time and 6 tries against Nick Saban. 1-5 all time, Nick Saban 5-1. Now you got Kalen DeBoer in here. How does he continue that trend of success? Run the Table Sports TV. Steve, been a while, bro. I'm back in here. You got that background popping now. Roll Tide party nights now. Can't wait to see Georgia. Yeah, man, we got the background here, Run the Table. We got the backdrop here popping out right now. Appreciate you being in the conversation. But topic tonight is, Bama is a 2.5-point dog to Georgia. How do you guys feel about that? Vegas has got Alabama 2.5-point dog here. We've seen this in years past where Vegas underestimates Alabama a little bit, trying to hedge those bets, but they underestimate the Crimson Tide there. So how do you guys feel about this, Bama being a 2.5-point dog, especially at home at Nick Saban or at Saban Field? We got my guy Mark Bars writes in a little gas money. Mark Bars, a little gas money. A little gas money for what there, Mark? Let's see here. Oh, there's that gas money, that $50 donation from my guy Mark Bars. Dropping that in the bucket right there. There's the gas money. $50 donation coming in there from my guy Mark Bars. We get back up here. We got J-Dub riding in. Roll Tide. Good evening, Bama fam. J-Dub in here. Appreciate him checking out the show. Little 1205, a.k.a. Lakeith Williams. That was the blackout game. Yes, it was. 2008 was the blackout game between the hedges, Sanford Stadium in Athens, Georgia. Bama getting the 41-38 win. And there was that game that a lot of people felt like Alabama was not going to get that game. And that sort of really jump-started the surge there of one Nick Saban during the early part of his coaching tenure. Tough as Nails writes in, Roll Tide, rise up, absolutely. Beer cans and baddies, nobody can beat the mighty Georgia Bulldogs. Hey, we take all commerce, beer cans and baddies, bring it on in. We're taking all commerce here. Love Bama. Hiya, Roll Tide, love Bama. Appreciate you being a part of the show. We continue with more conversations here. Bama Gump Roll Tide. Vegas spreading good propaganda for Bama. Or as Nick Saban likes to call it, yummy rat poison. So Vegas is spreading the good propaganda, or as former Alabama head coach Nick Saban likes to say, the yummy rat poison. Either way you look at it, it's happening. Either way you look at it, it's being spread across the board there. We got Mario Gordon writes in, Bama coming the favors. Bama coming the favors to beat Georgia. I'm ready. Here we go. Games next week in Tuscaloosa. I'm pumped for it. We got my man Jimmy Badman Clay in there. Roll Tide. Everybody appreciate Jimmy Clay being in the building. We'll be in the show on this evening. Little 1205. Roll Tide versus everyone. That's the mentality, Lakeith. Bama versus everyone. It's kind of like that song that Eminem, Big Sean, Dej Loaf, all of those Detroit rappers were in. Detroit versus everybody. Basically, Roll Tide versus everybody. There you go. Jimmy Clay writes in, Roll Tide, Steven. Roll Tide to you, Jimmy Clay. Happy to have you in here. Bob Rutherford giving us that RTR with the heart there. Appreciate that, Bob. Christian Hughes in here. Roll Tide. Stephen M. Roll Tide to you, Christian. Bama Gump Roll Tide. Georgia. A bunch of wannabes. Bama is the pinnacle of college football. Roll Tide. Bama Gump in here showing out right now. So next week, big. And we'll dive more into the Alabama-Georgia conversation to get more so on the matchups, the nuts and bolts of the game next week. But just after seeing this point spread, I had to come on here and start this conversation just to gauge you, the Alabama football fan base. Let's see here. We got Bama Gump writes in 30-24 in favor of Bama. 30-24. Beer cans and baddies writes in, I must admit, Alabama offense strikes fast and goes deep. Georgia didn't look good last week offensively. Georgia better not start slow in Tuscaloosa. A good point from beer cans and baddies right there. Georgia can't afford to start slow. But Alabama also cannot afford to start slow in this matchup here. Let's see here. We got here we go. We got my man Aaron McGuire with the Roll Tide Roll. Appreciate Aaron McGuire being in here on tonight's show. Let's see here. We got Mario Gordon. Georgia need to bring the same energy to Bryant Denny. Milroe go have a field day. This will be a big day, Mario, for Milroe next week. Why? So many NFL scouts teams will be in Tuscaloosa. So many scouts, several NFL teams. You're going to have NFL players all over the field next week. And Milroe has a shot to elevate his draft value on the biggest stage, right? here's a chance for Milroe. You already got one draft analyst, Matt Miller of ESPN, who talks about how impressed he is with Milroe's deep ball, the growth and improvement he is starting to make in the short to intermediate passing game, what he provides as a runner, what he provides in terms of leadership. There will be several NFL teams next week at Saban Field inside the stadium. So this is a big moment for Milroe to take a big step forward in that conversation in terms of elevating his draft stock, but also the Heisman Trophy conversation, right? Because you got him and Carson Beck both in that conversation. So a big game for Milroe next week pushes him forward in that conversation. Let's see here. We got Christian Hughes. I like it when they doubt Bama. This is where Bama's at its best. Lank 2.0. Christian, absolutely. When national media, especially Vegas, when they are undervaluing, underselling Alabama, Bama's able to play up that narrative and go out there loose, go out there confident, go out there with its mindset on executing the assignment when it's undervalued, whether that's by national media, whether that's by Vegas, whether that's by whoever, right? They're able to go out there, play up that narrative, and execute to the highest level there. My man Samuel Crenshaw, Roll Tide Roll. Greetings, everyone from Birmingham. My man Big Sam coming in from the B-Ham there. Appreciate that. We got, hey, my man Desmond Eason on that Malachi Moore swag. If they ain't wearing crimson, you know the rest. So, my guy, representing the Malachi Moore swag. Aaron McGuire, I like it that we're the underdogs. Roll Tide Roll. So, Aaron loving the underdog vibe that Vegas has put out here in terms of Alabama against Georgia. We got Fish and Grits. I'm in Atlanta, West Side, yelling Roll Tide. So, we got Fish and Grits in here talking Bama, even though he is in Atlanta at this time. We got Army 3275 in here. Georgia hasn't had much offense. I like Bama by 7 to 10 points. Now, Army, I see where you're coming from. There's no more Brock Bowers. There's no more Lant McConkey. Georgia does have some playmakers, but the biggest thing here is going to be Alabama limiting Georgia's run game, and then right behind that, affecting Carson Beck in that pocket. I don't know. I saw a lot of what Kentucky did last week. Kentucky did a lot to offset Georgia. They did a lot. I still put the blame on Mark Stoops for not going after the jugular at the end there, kind of playing it too safe, too conservative, because their defense did everything possible to completely suffocate Georgia. So if you're Alabama, you look at what Kentucky did, kind of take some things from that. Now, we know Kirby Smart is going to have these guys in here with their hair on fire, ready to play. We already know this. But if I'm Alabama, you take a little bit of what Kentucky did, mix it into the game plan that you got going on here. We'll see what happens here. Joe Will writes in, I'm not scared of Georgia. We beat them with Tommy Reese and that horrible center last year. Joe Will said, look, bruh. Look here, bruh. I am not afraid of Georgia. Bama took care of Georgia with Tommy Reese and Seth McLaughlin last year. Well, Joe Will, you are right. Look, I am with you when you are correct. And, sir, you are correct. Alabama did do that. So, this time around, when you look at Kalen DeBoer, Nick Sheridan, a brand new center, and Parker Brailsford, Jalen Milroe, another year older, another year wiser here, growing in the system, should be good right here. J-Dub writes in, the way I see it, steel sharpens steel, Roll Tide. So it's going to be a good matchup. Going to be a very, very good matchup. Monica Petaway writes in, good evening, Bama Nation. Good evening to you, Monica. Happy to have you in here on a Friday to round out this bye week of shows. Bama taking on Georgia next Saturday, Saban Field, Bryant Denny Stadium, 6:30 kickoff. the SEC on ABC. Going to be a good one there. GT18 Roll Tide family. GT18, happy to have you in here. We're getting a Roll Tide from Desmond Eason. Appreciate you, Desmond. Beer cans and baddies in here. Appreciate beer cans helping us out, though. Even though, Georgia fan, we appreciate all commerce here. Bama Gum hashtag Roll Tide says, Bowers won't be able to bail out check down Beck. Brock Bowers is in the NFL, so he's not going to be at this game. But it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out. Run the Table Sports TV's got Bama 42, Georgia 24. So that's Run the Table Sports TV prediction, 42-24 Bama. Chatman family comes in with Roll Tide Roll. One more week. It's game week. One more week. And it is game week for Bama, Georgia. So much anticipation for this matchup. Brom writes in, Skyline Crew was good, fam. Roll Tide Roll. Skyline Crew here. You see us, Brom? You see us, Brom? You see us. Skyline Crew right here. We locked in. We 10 toes down. You already know. Skyline Crew is in here. Middle one, 205. I hope Jalen uses his legs more. We don't need any interceptions. You want to see Jalen Milroe run the football. You do. But at the same time, you also want to see him get off in the passing game as well. Whether it's the deep shots, whether it's the short to intermediate game, you want to see Nick Sheridan create matchups on the field where he frees up Ryan Williams. He frees up Kobe Prentice. He frees up Kendrick Law. He frees up Jeremy Bernard. So you want to see all of that come into play here. Let's see. We got Carla Saint. Hold on, Carla. Carla Saint. There we go with the Roll Tide. Roll Tide to you, Carla. Happy to have you in here. Chatman family comes back with Georgia will be ready, and the Tide will definitely be ready because Bama breeds horses. It's going to be a big matchup and a fun one. Both teams are going to be ready. There's not going to be really any motivation from coaches to get these guys prepared. You know, it's Bama, it's Georgia. When that ball kicks off, it's action, strap up. Let's go to war. Let's go to war. Let's go to war here on this field. Absolutely. Mr. G writes in, Georgia game will be my 629th attended game, not in a row. More natties to come in the future. Roll Tide Roll. Mr. G, 629th game. You a legend, my man. Mr. G, you are a legend. Let's see here. Run the Table Sports TV. If it rains, Bama 28-14. So run the table, you got 42-24 Bama if the weather's good. If it rains, 28-14 Bama. Okay, there we go. Tough as nails. Brock Bowers made Monken and Bobo. There is no safety net now. Roll Tide. Brock Bowers did enhance Todd Monken and Mike Bobo. He enhanced both of them. Good point. Now he's in the NFL with the Las Vegas Raiders. You got to find a different way to win here in this matchup. Let's see. We got Chatman family, Roll Tide Roll. What's going on, my brother? Hey, Chatman, I'm doing fantastic, man. We got Bama football next week. Now, after this, we're on a bye week this week, next Saturday, Bama, Georgia. I'll be in there. I'll be at Bryant-Denny. I'll be on Saban Field getting all of this information, getting all of this excitement here. Jason Bernard with a Roll Tide. Roll Tide to you, Jason. Chatman family, it's game week. I'll be next week, Chatman. Next week is that game week. Let's see here. We got Jason Bernard. I look for E-Man to have a breakout game. E-Man can have a good game here, Jason. Jason, that's a good point. E-Man caught a pass against Wisconsin, had some really good blocks last week. And you know, the quickest way to get on the field as a wide receiver is if you show you can be an unselfish, willing blocker. E-Man showed that against the Badgers. So it would not shock me. It would not surprise me in the slightest if Emmanuel Henderson gets out there and has a marquee significant game and has significance here in the football game. Run the Table Sports TV. If all stays clear and no rain, it'll be 42-17 Bama. So run the table. You got 3 predictions here going. You got 42-24. You got 28-14 if it rains. And if all stays clear, no rain, 42-17. So which one of the 3 run the table are you going to go with? Which one of the 3 there? D. Myers writes in, I'm in Dogs Country, Titletown, Valdosta, Georgia. Milroe will face a real SEC defense now. Let's see what you got. Hashtag Roll Tide. Can't waste any downs. Hey, you're facing a legit SEC defense in Georgia, especially the defensive front. So Milroe has to be on his A game. Nick Sheridan has to be on his A game calling the plays. The receivers have to be on their A game creating separation. Offensive line's got to be on its A game blocking. Absolutely. Defensively, Kane Womack has got to be on his A game. The linebackers, defensive secondary, pass rush guys, gotta be on their A game as well. B. Jamin writes in, could very well be a 3-way tie in the SEC between Bama, Texas, Ole Miss. Just saying. That is an interesting scenario, B. Jamin. 3-way tie in the SEC. Very, very interesting scenario there. Run the Table Sports TV. Heisman top 3 front runners. Jalen Milroe, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter. I like that list. I like that list there. Jalen Milroe, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, your top 3 Heisman front running candidates. Let's see here. It's K Surratt 51. Who cares about a Heisman or draft stock if TER? Well, we're gonna have to see what you're saying there, but I mean, it's a big thing when you talk about the draft stock because every NFL team and every NFL scout, or most of them, will be at Bryant-Denny next week for this Alabama-Georgia game. So that draft stock is important. And then when you look at the Heisman between Milroe and Carson Beck, whoever plays the better game and their team wins, you got to think they're going to take a nice step forward in the Heisman conversation. Let's see. Monica Petaway writes in, I need Bama to avoid an invasion. Don't let Georgia come in our house like they own the place. That's the big thing there, Monica. That's the big thing. Protect Saban Field. Protect your house. Protect Saban Field. That's the main thing. James Knox comes in with the roll tide to them dogs die. In my own words, TDA family, roll tide to them dogs die. There we go. James Knox in here. Ryan Flanagan writes in, this is a toss-up matchup. Now, Ryan, if the point spread drops now, Ryan, if it drops to like even, then it could be a pick 'em. And that's where my eyeballs will be on, Ryan, because if Vegas, if this line drops to like even and it becomes a pick 'em, oh man, I might have to work with that if it becomes a pick 'em, but we'll just have to see. Beer Cans and Baddies writes in, Steve is an excellent chat host, one of the most entertaining and energetic I've seen on YouTube. I could tell he bleeds Bama. Hey, Beer Cans, Baddies, hey, I cover Alabama football, but we welcome all fans in here, Beer Cans and Baddies. So we welcome Georgia fans, Tennessee fans, Auburn fans. So we take on all commerce here, so we appreciate you in the chat. Here we go. We got my man Randy from the Dogs Cast. Hey, Steven, Herb, and Raj missed you last night. Hey, golly. Hey, look, Randy, I'm gonna get up with you, Randy. I gotta get up with you. I got to get up with you, Randy. Absolutely. Mr. B _205. They have been talking about this swarm defense. I need to see more sacks for it to be called a swarm defense. Mr. B, you make a point. You make a point. Now, you got to see some sacks. More of those this week or next week. You got to see some sacks and some sacks that produce forced fumbles, negative plays. You got to see that. So, Mr. B, I do agree with you on that one right there. We got Run the Table Sports TV with that 1999. Let's go. Dropping that in the bucket there. We called it now, Steve. 42-17 Bama bucket. So that's the one you're going with. 42-17 Bama if it don't rain. If it rains, 28-14 Bama. So there we go. There we go. Run the Table Sports TV is calling it right there. Appreciate all of you guys getting your comments in. My guy, Bill! Big Bill from New York with that $10 donation, dropping it in there. Appreciate Bill from New York helping us out here on this show. Let's see here. All of you guys with your comments here. Great comments. Koala Gang Zay. K-Law will be unleashed. He needs to be unleashed in this game. He needs to be unleashed in this game. Let's see here. J-Dub writes in. Stephen have seen. Let's see here. Stephen, have you seen our offense have you seen what our offense has to offer this year? Have we been too conservative? I don't think the offense has been too conservative, J-Dub. I just feel like Bama hasn't used all of the volume of its offense yet. And why would it need to when it doesn't have to right now, when it hasn't been challenged to do so? So right now, Alabama has used a small portion of its offense. It's been waiting on the bigger matchups to use more of it. So this matchup here against Georgia gives it an opportunity. It's the same thing defensively. Kane Womack talked about it. Bama has only used a small volume, a small portion of its defense because it hasn't had to dig into the bag deeper to pull out stuff. Now, against Georgia, you're about to see Kane Womack dive into that bag to pull out some stuff. We got Antoine Currington writes in, QB read runs will make the D-line of Georgia play softer, make them worry about moving side to side. Hey, design quarterback runs, Antoine, will play a role in this game. And when Nick Sheridan dials them up, right? Design quarterback runs, and when Nick Sheridan decides to call them up will be key here. Christian Hughes writes in, Stephen M., on offense and defensive side of the ball, which players do you feel could have a breakout game? Okay. Offensively, I think Justice Haynes could have a big game next week. Haynes from Georgia, went to Buford High School. Dad was a Georgia legacy, understands the magnitude of this game. Last week against Wisconsin, the game plan didn't really call for much of Haynes. I think next week, that game plan is going to call for some Justice Haynes. So I think he could have a breakout game. If not him, Kendrick Law can have a breakout game. If Nick Sheridan pulls out his play call sheet and uses him the way he needs to be used, Kendrick Law have a breakout game. I'm going to go with Justice Haynes to be on the safe side offensively. Defensively, who I think could have a breakout game. Defensively, I think Quay Russaw can have a breakout game. I think Quay on the edge, getting to the quarterback, getting into Carson Beck's face, can have a huge breakout game. So let's go defensively, Quay Russaw, offensively, Justice Haynes there. That would be my two. Let's see. Appreciate all of you guys getting your thoughts in, writing in, chatting in. We appreciate all of you. And there's my guy, Run Table Sports TV showing their love, dropping the $49.99 in the Super Chats. He goes, Steve, KD is setting Georgia up this whole time. Watch how Ryan Williams is used this game. Decoy sometimes. Watch K-Law, Kobe, and E-Man have breakout games, roll tide. So Run the Table Sports has got K-Law, Kobe, and E-Man being used a lot this game with Ryan Williams as a decoy. I like that. Ryan Williams as a decoy. That's interesting. We got here, Italian Stallion writes in, it's been a lonely loner defense. I've been disappointed with the pass rush. We made a few plays against Wisconsin, but they suck. We need to put pressure on Carson Beck or he'll burn the secondary. Alabama's got to create pressure, got to affect Carson Beck. Definitely sacks will be big in this game, Italian Stallion. Sacks will be huge in this game. Batted passes will be huge in this game. Creating turnovers. Trying to create a lot of turnovers here in this game. Quite a few turnovers here in this game here for Alabama against Georgia. But all of you guys are getting active. You guys are getting active in the chat line. I'm enjoying this. Let's see. Sheila K writes in, I can't believe Bama is an underdog at home against Georgia. Well, Sheila, this is how Vegas wanted it, right? This is how Vegas wanted it. You're trying to hedge your bets. You're trying to win some money. You're trying to get people to the table. So how do you do that, right? You make Bama the underdog against Georgia to entice more people to put money on that 2.5-point line. That is what Vegas has done. Now, in the past, we have seen where if Bama was the underdog, like I mentioned, Coach Saban played up that narrative. Coach Saban used this as a motivational tool for the players. Does Kalen DeBoer do the exact same thing? Who knows? We shall see. Let's see here. We go down to my man J-Dub. I think that would break Georgia roll ties. J-Dub there. Let's see. We got Darius Fountain. He's got Georgia 48, Alabama 24. So there is that from Darius Fountain there. Let's see. Antoine writes in, will Quay Russaw be ready to go from his injury? I haven't even looked for an injury update yet. Quay, according to Kalen DeBoer, Monday of this week mentioned that Quay's been able to do some things. Quay was able to do some things a couple of days after the Wisconsin game. So there's a lot of positive on Russaw. But I think as we enter into next week, we'll get a firm statement on, will Quay go? Yes or no? But as of right now, I think Quay's going. I think Quay Russaw is going here against Georgia. But appreciate you guys getting your thoughts, getting your conversations in here. Boy, a lot of y'all are in here tonight. I am appreciating this. Let's see here. Run the Table Sports TV. I think Coach held the playbook close to the vest just for SEC competition. I would say so. DeBoer and Kane Womack are saying, why waste our best stuff on Western Kentucky, South Florida, and Wisconsin when we know we got Georgia, we know we got Tennessee, Missouri, LSU, marquee teams coming up down the road here. You don't want to waste your best on teams that you can beat with your basic stuff. You don't want to waste your exotic stuff on teams you can beat with your basic stuff. So that's why we have not seen DeBoer or Kane Womack go deeper into the bag. A lot of you guys are talking about the Oklahoma-Tennessee game. That's going to be a good one. Some of y'all are talking about Arkansas, Auburn tomorrow. That's going to be a good one. J. Cole writes in, Roll Tide, we're going to show out next week. God bless you. Jesus Christ be with you at all times. Amen to that, J. Cole. Absolutely. Love Bama writes in 32-17. Bama wins. So Love Bama's got 32-17 in favor of the Crimson Tide. Deborah Franklin's in here. Motivation for the Tide as the underdog. Yes, motivation. You're a 2.5-point dog. You're at home, Saban Field, Bryant Denny, and you're an underdog. Big motivation. Big motivation here. We got Christian Hughes writes in, I got Oklahoma, also Hicks, no balls win. Hey, Oklahoma over Tennessee. Okay. David Williams writes in, Georgia could be a 4-loss team this year. Oh, we gonna see, Dave, how that goes, man. It starts next week against Alabama. Dave-O, we're going to see how that goes. Jason Bernard writes in, will we ever get a Keon Keeley sighting? Jason, I mean, Keeley is talented. It's just you're deep. Like you are really deep at that bandit position right now on the defensive line. I mean, Bama's deep. And Keeley is third string behind Latham and Overton. So Keeley's just got to wait his time. He's got to wait his time. And sometimes we look at 4- and 5-star guys and feel like they're supposed to just pop immediately. But sometimes it takes that 4- or 5-star minute to gel, to get acclimated, to get worked into what they have to do. And then you're going from a Nick Saban system to a Kane Womack system, a 3-4 with a nickel to a 4-2-5. That's a whole different thing there. So Keeley, his time will come. His time will come. It's just right now he's continuing to sort of adjust and adapt there. Let's see. Ryan Flanagan writes in, Weather Channel says rain showers at 60% for the Georgia game. Looks like we may have some rain on Saban Field next week. But we all know the weather changes every single day. Sometimes you look at it and you see it says rain, and sometimes you look at it and the sun is out there shining. So we're going to see what becomes of the weather. My guy Bill from New York here. Let's see, Bill. Let's get you in here, Bill. Let's roll this up here. Gotta get the Bills comment. There we go. Here we go. My man Bill from New York, 27-14 Tide. Got Bama over Georgia, 27-14. Let's see here, J. Cole. What's your score, though? All right. I'm going to save mine for next week because I've been going through a couple of different ones, so I'm not going to give mine now. I'm going to save mine, J. Cole. Be back in here next week, and I will have mine prepared for next week. My boy, Coach Juan, saying it with his chest. Got the swag out big time. Coach Juan, we dog walking Georgia. Coach Juan got Bama dog walking Georgia. Gotta love the swagger there from Coach Juan there. Let's see here. Stephen Hicks writes in, I don't want a weather excuse for either. Hey, Stephen Hicks, I feel you on that. You want no excuses where the weather is concerned. Even with the weather, you want to have great execution. You want to have success there. Both sides of the ball, especially when it comes down to Alabama. Let's see here. Antoine Currington, let him blitz. I know some wide receivers that love one-on-one coverage. Hey. There it is. There. Let's see here. Stephen Hicks has my prediction. Bama wins, Georgia loses 35-13. So Stephen Hicks has got 35-13 in favor of Alabama. Robert James writes in, Bama got to be better against the run and tackle better. Yards after contact will be huge in this game. Absolutely. Wrapping up against the run, fit in your gap, containing the outside edge, forcing things back to the middle of that Alabama defense. So stopping the run will be a marquee deal. I appreciate all of you guys giving your thoughts on the show. Gary Peak writes in, do you think they will use sharks on Hollywood? I feel like Georgia will try to take Ryan Williams out of the game with physicality, trying to be physical with him. I can see Kirby Smart rolling coverage toward his side, having the safety over the top to help out, kind of bracketing Hollywood there. If that happens, if you're Nick Sheridan, your game plan has to be, what do I do to free up Williams? What play calls do I need to make to free him up? Or if not that, all right, if Hollywood has to have a quiet game, then I got to get Jeremy Bernard to go off, Kendrick Law to go off, Kobe Prentice to go off, Emmanuel Henderson to go off. Stephen Hicks writes in, go for Beck, harass him all game and hurt his feelings. Hey, go for Carson Beck there and Stephen Hicks. David Williams writes in 30-28 Bama. He got a boy, David, you got a heart attack of a game, man. 38-20, 30-28, 30-28. That's a blood pressure pill of a game there, David. But there you go. There you go. You got Pensacola, you got Pensacola Mojo writes in. Comes down to the O-line and the trenches. If they can keep Milroe clean, the rest will fall into place. He's pressure, bad things will happen. That's the main thing, Pensacola Mojo. Offensive line, keeping the protection on Milroe clean, opening up opportunities in the run game as well. You guys are getting your thoughts in tonight. I'm appreciating this. We got Sherrod Childers writes in. Steven, I think Kirby was trying to hold tight to their playbook as well, and it almost backfired on them. I also expect them and their talent of depth. Bama is to take them down again. Hey, look, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. Bama, Georgia, this is going to be a good one. We got Desmond Eason with that 1999. Let's go. Putting that in the super chats. He's got Graham Nicholson. Must be on his A game next week. Now, Graham has made all of his extra points. He has. He's only attempted one field goal so far against Wisconsin from 46 yards. Kind of pushed a little bit. But Graham's a good kicker. He just hasn't had many opportunities so far to get out there and attempt field goals. But if he gets that chance next week, he has got to be on his A game as well. J. Cole writes in, will we see Law play more? You need to, especially after his ability, what he showed to block against Wisconsin. You definitely want to have the ball more in K. Law's hands. Royal quality, playing sound Bama ball. That's the main thing. You got to play sound Bama football. Let's see, Monica Petaway. I hope the refs can call an accurate game. Let the boys play and not call favorites. That's underrated. The biggest part of the game. You don't want the officiating crew showing partiality. We've seen this too many times. I understand you have to call penalties, right? But can you call it fair on both sides? So I really hope this game does not come down to the officiating crew making the wrong decision. I really hope it does not come down to that. I really hope it does not come down to that. Let's see here. Monica writes back, David Williams went back to A.J. McCarron days. I promise you he did. Went back to A.J. days. Went back to that 2012 Alabama LSU game. Screen pass, make a man miss. I declare. My blood pressure was teetering that game. Thank God A.J. McCarron was able to, get that screen pass off to Yeldon, man. I was almost concerned for my own safety. That game, and I was in the house. I was nowhere in Baton Rouge. I'm in the house. And I'm concerned for my own safety. That game right there. David Williams writes in, Prentice and Law. Yeah, you definitely want to get Prentice and K-Law involved in this matchup, in this game, as much as you possibly can. You definitely got to use the tight ends, right? Tight ends, J. Cole, tight ends have got to be used. Got to be used there. Let's hear facts about Graham. He got to come through. You bring over Graham Nicholson, Lou Groza award winner. If he gets more opportunities to kick, definitely got to come through. Special teams, tough as nails, will be critical. And James Burnip, I mentioned this, could be a major weapon in this game. James Burnip is having a field day, punting the football so far of his season, flipping the field. He's got, of his 14 punts, 7 have traveled 50-plus yards. That's big. 5 have dropped inside the opponent's 20-yard line. So James Burnip will be a marquee weapon here in this matchup. And yes, Eric McGuire, he's going to go, in the words of Eli Gold. TJ Yeldon did get into that end zone on that make a man miss screen pass there, which I mean, I gotta get me a Daniel Moore oil painting of that at some point. J-Dub writes in, have a good weekend, Stephen. Roll Tide, roll Tide to you, J-Dub. You have a great weekend yourself, man. Stephen Hicks, Georgia is very good. Bama just needs to be better. Roll Tide. That's the key. Georgia's good. Bama just need to be better. Bama just needs to have better execution here when it comes to this matchup against the Bulldogs. But I appreciate all of you guys checking out tonight's show. I mean, I didn't think at first in the prep work that me having a conversation about the point spread for this game, I didn't think that me having a conversation about the point spread on this game and Bama being an underdog would draw this much conversation. But you know what? I'm happy I was wrong. Because having a show about Bama as an underdog being dangerous for college football, it has worked out. I mean, you guys have been in here from the opening. So this has been good. This has been fantastic. Good to see here. Monica Petaway writes in, DeBoer has to outcoach Smart. He's got to outcoach Smart and the entire Georgia staff. Royal quality. More runs for Milrow. You got to have those design runs right there. Here we go. Jackson Miles, the most disciplined team between Georgia and Bama will win. Absolutely the most disciplined team. You got to have that done there. We got GT18. Steven, that's good rat poison for us in terms of the point spread. Roll Tide and rise up with any Bama football talk is wanted football talk. True. Steve Waybright, I've been a Tide fan since Bear Bryant days, win or lose. I love my Tide, born and raised in West Virginia. Never was a Mountaineers fan. I think Bama will win 34-17. So 34-17, Bama over Georgia for Steve Waybright. Y'all Warrior writes in, I love the rat poison, Coach Steve A. Hey, look, this is Vegas. This ain't coming from me. It's Vegas. This is Vegas and them point spreads. Ain't coming from me. But Deborah Franklin writes in, I think the 14 runs from Milrow were too many. I think that was against Wisconsin. They may take it down, Deborah. We'll see. We'll see how Nick Sheridan and Kalen DeBoer go about it. But like I said, Bama Nation, I went into this prep for this show thinking, do I really want to talk about the Vegas point spread and Bama being a 2.5-point dog at home at Bryant-Denny? And the more I convinced myself to talk about it, the more I felt like, you know what, you as the Bama fan base would get behind this. And man, you guys truly got behind this. So I appreciate every last one of you. But as always, Tide fans, you want the best in news, notes, information, coverage on your favorite program, that being the Alabama Crimson Tide. You can get this by accessing the Touchdown Alabama magazine app. You download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple. Google Play Store if you got the Android phone for your audio needs. Check us out, iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, iHeartRadio, Google Play. we got you covered there. The good and gracious Lord sees fit. I'll be back on Monday for Game Week, Georgia. Game Week, give you more content when it comes down to Bama football. Remember, Tide fans, you got to get that subscription to touchdownalabama.com. Don't forget to subscribe to touchdownalabama.com. Do that today to get all of your Bama football in the palm of your hands there. Also, subscribe to TDA Plus, the video hub, to get all of the video content on your Crimson Tide that way. Appreciate all of you in the chat line, all of you guys on YouTube. This has been fun here. And we're gonna get to the last of your comments. I think another $5 donation is coming here. And yes, it is Henry Hubbard with that $5 donation. Appreciate Henry Hubbard there, helping us out there. Monica Petaway, great content tonight. Enjoyed everyone. Be safe. Roll Tide. Lank. There we go from Monica. Christian Hughes writes in, great show tonight. Good night, Bama Nation. Got the younger hammer going right there. Italian Stallion with we love you, Stephen. Thanks for everything you do. Love the videos and the enthusiasm. Hey, this is what I do. Get a chance to talk to you, the Bama football fan base, 3 days a week. In the words of my uncle, you can't beat that with a stick. And why would you even try to beat that with a stick? But that's Unc coming out of me right there. Tough as Nails writes in. Great show, Stephen. I appreciate that, Tough as Nails. We got Brian Russell, Roll Tide, Stephen. Hey, we in here, man. We are in here. We got GT18, Roll Tide, Stephen, and TDA. Have a great weekend all in Roll Tide. Absolutely. My man David Williams is giving me the thumbs up there, signing off. Skyline crew from, you know what it is? You know what it is? We got the Skyline crew. Let's see here. Deborah Franklin, who will the Tide be watching tomorrow? Tennessee and Oklahoma for me. I'm watching Tennessee, Oklahoma. Deborah, I will also check out the Auburn, Arkansas game. So I will also be looking at that Auburn, Arkansas game. So we should see some very good, some very intriguing football tomorrow and throughout the weekend. But Bama Nation, enjoy the weekend. Have fun. We'll be back Monday next week, Georgia week. Till next time, folks. It's been in my own words.